Hello, everyone. Greg Michlig here, President and CEO at CUInsight.com. And on this episode of Three Questions, it's a pleasure to welcome Heather Ristow, Chief Experience Officer at Corporate Central Credit Union. Heather, thanks for being here.
Yep, thanks. Hi, Greg.
It's great to have you on with us, and I'm sure everyone is really eager to hear about the valuable insights that you have to offer. So, with that, let's get to those three questions.
Sure.
So the first one, there's a lot of new entrants into the credit union industry every day, both at credit unions and the providers that work with them. So I think maybe a good starting question would be, what is a corporate credit union?
Yeah, well, thank you for the opportunity first and foremost, because even though, corporate credits have been around for decades, the concept of what they do, how they're rooted into the industry might not be widely known. And to your point, yeah, we have kind of this evolving door of new entrants, so it's good to be able to explain it. So I guess the simplest way to define it is we are a credit union for credit unions. So when you think about that, we provide liquidity, investments, payments, technology solutions, and a lot of the kind of solutions you think about when referencing like payment processing, wires, things like that to our credit unions so that they can then provide that same type of service to their members and serve their members better. I believe all corporates now in the country function similarly to a regular natural person credit union where we're not for profit. We're structured very similarly. We're either federally or state chartered, regulated by the NCUA. And then Corporate Central, although we are a credit union at our core, we really operate more like a fintech or a technology company that serves credit unions or serves financial institutions. So we are really, really hyper focused on the future of where credit unions are going and really knowing that technology is shaping a lot of that roadmap. So that's kind of how we've evolved over the last handful of decades. That's kind of how we would phrase it and position ourselves, but it can be confusing because there's a lot of layers in the industry, isn't there?
Yeah, there are a lot of layers, and I appreciate that explanation. Really, kind of makes me wonder, how does Corporate Central collaborate within the financial industry? And you mentioned fintech, so also the fintech sphere.
Yeah, you bet. So, I mean, we have a long-standing relationship and a lot of collaborative partnerships with the leagues of each state or each region now, NASCIS, the Federal Reserve. A lot of those kind of credit union associations we've been partnering with, since the beginning of our time. But we also actively participate and get highly involved in those kind of incubator concepts with like the Filene Research Institute, conferences and different events like Venture Tech and Money 2020, all of the NACHA and Payments First or any kind of thing payments related venues we really try to stay hyper engaged in and connect with those industry leaders, partner with those industry leaders so that we can better understand that fintech side of things and all of the payment advances that are going on within the United States. We have those partnerships in place and we sponsor a lot of things, but we certainly kind of collaborate and attend on an educational basis as well, so that we're all good stewards for, the masses of our credit unions in the United States and beyond. And then outside of that, not only are we partnering with some of those collectives, we're really starting to find reason to invest heavily in them. So again, going back to that incubator concept, really, really touching on the Filene, the lab at Filene, and the Circle Fund. So these new kind of innovative strategic ways for credit unions to have a hand and a seat at the table in what's happening with fintech. So that's been a really exciting way to get more involved in that fintech space. I know our CTO is at pretty much every credit union technology conference that exists, and he comes back with dozens and dozens of ideas every time he's out with those folks. So great to network and really learn from our peers, but then great to collaborate with our members and figure out what's next. What do we invest in? Because that gets trickier and trickier every year.
Yeah, a lot of names that you put out there in terms of organizations that are doing a lot of great things within the space. A lot of them work with us here at CUInsight, and thrilled to hear that you're working with them as well. And I've seen you at a number of events over the years too, so no surprise that you and the Corporate Central team are out there on the road having those types of interactions. One of the things you mentioned was streamlining. So how is Corporate Central streamlining the member experience?
Yeah, well, one thing I should mention too, when we look at the way that we collaborate, we're a corporate, like I mentioned, but we also wholly own a few QSOs as well, credit and service organizations. So one of the things that we saw as an opportunity was to create a different avenue to serve members. And sometimes that means going outside of your normal processing system, right? Or the normal way that you do business as a corporate. So we do have two QSOs as well, Quantify, which is kind of a balance sheet and ALM solution platform. And then we have Interlutions, which is now, I believe, the largest healthcare QSO in the country. So different models. When you see an opportunity, right? Or your members are coming to you demanding that there's maybe a gap that needs to be filled that isn't being filled within the industry. That's where Corporate Central really puts its resources in, puts our heads down, and figures out how do we make that happen. It's not just one or two, maybe credit union members, it's dozens or hundreds that need this type of solution. So that's how we start the streamlining process, which is why these QSOs were born years ago. So that's one example. But really, what we've done over the last 3, 4 years is completely redesign how our members interact with us through we call it our Bistro platform. So, as you can imagine, a corporate credit union like ourselves has very different needs than a regular credit union for processing payments and wires and doing kind of OFAC checks and all of the bells and whistles between moving money around or securing a system of really financial transactions. And so we set out to look through a core processor, conversion, figure out what we're going to do for a core. And it really came down to we owed it to our members to build our own. So we ended up going through all of the steps, creating our own kind of big project plan, hiring a development team who's all still with us and are amazing. And we kind of started imagining what this new platform could look like and took every operation that our members were using Corporate Central for again years and years, and put it into this nice, very easy open API infrastructure system that is both the front and the back end for us and our members to convey messaging, process transactions, you name it. So it took a while, and it took a lot of good discovery and great questions and concepts from our members, but we were able to develop that plus some. So what that did was, again, it allowed this kind of next generation all-in-one platform to be at our credit union's fingertips. So an example is, when you're asked to make a change to a system that's, maybe antiquated or has been around for a while, the answer used to be, no, I'm sorry, or it's going to cost us $50,000 to get that accomplished. And today, our members can shoot us a quick note saying, hey, can we have this, look a little different in Bistro, or can we see this type of report, or can we download it in this, maybe file format? It's literally a couple clicks of a button for our development team to really dig in and just make members' lives easier and finally say, yes, we could do that. Sometimes it takes a little longer than a few seconds. But it's nice to have that expertise and that ability to see what are our members needing that we might not even know would make their lives a little easier, or their accounting department save 20 minutes a day, and be able to do that for them in such a quick time frame, and then share that out to the rest of the members. So that's a really big thing, is that we have these on-site resources that are so focused on the member experience and making sure that our members are heard. Most of our enhancements to our Bistro platform come from our members giving us just suggestions or asking us great questions. But secondly, that open API concept means that anything our members are doing, whether it be processing, again, transactions from elsewhere, incorporating files for an accounting platform or a fraud platform or maybe a compliance system, we have the capability, now that we've built this platform, to integrate everything into it and have kind of, again, this one seamless experience where our members are logging into Bistro and they can kind of play with everything else that's connected into their everyday, by not leaving that system. So it's really nice from an analytics standpoint, reporting, even our cash solutions. You think of something so I don't know, basic like ordering cash each week. There's a lot of opportunity to streamline that process at a credit union and make sure that, you're not entering things twice or having communication flow in different ways. So we've just added a lot of layers to that, and we feel, and our I know our members have spoken to this too, figured out ways to make this kind of a fun experience versus one you have to just check off a box or you dread. So that's a big one, which opens up, the gateway to that fintech integration. And using that cash example too, we have a fintech solution with Logic Path that allows our credit unions to kind of do that cash forecasting, and the system will automatically spit out which branch, the credit unions have that should be ordering this exact amount of 20s, 50s, ones in order to streamline their cost of funds and their interest rate kind of benefit. So there's all these types of things, and now that we have positioned it this way, we literally say if you can dream it, Bistro can integrate it. So it's a challenge to come up with what's next, and what else we can keep integrating, which is kind of a fun way to look at it.
It's a really big undertaking with the core side, and then all the elements and layers within that are significant, of course, as well. And it just, kind of goes back to the whole, idea, even, at a natural person credit union, the idea is to serve your members, right? And that sounds exactly why you took that path and why you put all the investment and time into to doing that. So it's been a pleasure connecting with you and seeing you again, and I appreciate all the time that you took. And a final thank you to all that tuned in for this 3 questions video interview. We'll see you next time.
Yep. Thanks so much. Take care.